The White War, La Guerra Bianca, was the extraordinary and brutal high-altitude conflict fought between the Kingdom of Italy and the Austro-Hungarian Empire during World War I along the Alpine front from 1915 to 1918. When Italy decided to abandon its former allies and join the Entente after signing the Treaty of London, it declared war on Austria-Hungary in May 1915 and opened a new front that stretched for roughly 600 kilometers across one of the harshest mountain environments in Europe. This front ran from the Stelvio Pass in the west, across the Ortler and Adamello glaciers, through the dramatic limestone towers of the Dolomites, along the Carnic Alps, and down toward the Julian Alps and the valley of the Isonzo. Unlike the muddy trench systems of northern France and Belgium, this war unfolded among peaks rising above 3,000 meters, on vertical rock faces, narrow ridges, and vast glaciers, where temperatures could fall far below freezing and snowstorms could isolate entire units for days. The soldiers who fought there, especially the Italian Alpini and the Austro-Hungarian Kaiserschützen and Standschützen, had to adapt to an environment that was often more lethal than enemy fire. Entire military infrastructures were carved into the mountains. Tunnels were blasted through solid rock to create protected communication routes. Barracks were hollowed out inside glaciers, and artillery pieces were disassembled, hauled upward by mules or by hand, and reassembled at dizzying heights. In the Adamello sector, heavy cannons were installed on ice at over 3,000 meters, making it one of the highest battlefields in history. On the Marmolada glacier, soldiers lived inside a vast ice city, a network of tunnels and chambers dug into the frozen mass to shield troops from bombardment and avalanches. Engineers constructed hundreds of kilometers of cableways to transport food, ammunition, timber, and even small artillery pieces up near vertical slopes, feats of logistics that remain astonishing even today. Combat in the White War often consisted of small-scale but ferocious assaults to capture a single peak, ridge, or mountain pass that could provide observation over enemy lines. Control of high ground was crucial, since artillery observers positioned on summits could direct devastating fire onto valleys below. Battles for mountains such as Monte Pasubio, Lagazuoi, and Col de Lana became legendary for their intensity and ingenuity. At Col de Lana, Italian forces famously tunneled beneath the Austrian summit position and detonated a massive mine in 1916, literally blowing the top off the mountain. Mining warfare became a grim and dramatic feature of the Alpine front, with both sides excavating explosive galleries under enemy strongpoints in a silent underground duel. Nature, however, was an ever-present and unpredictable enemy. Winters were catastrophic. Avalanches, often triggered by artillery vibrations, buried entire companies. In December 1916, during an episode later remembered as White Friday, thousands of soldiers from both armies were killed by massive snowslides within a few days. Frostbite, hypothermia, and altitude sickness were constant threats, and many troops suffered long-term physical damage. The psychological strain was equally severe. Men endured isolation on exposed ridges, staring across icy chasms at enemy positions sometimes only a few dozen meters away, knowing that a single misstep could mean a fall into the void. Letters and diaries reveal a mixture of fear, awe at the sublime mountain landscape, and profound exhaustion. Further south along the Isonzo Valley, the conflict assumed a more conventional but equally deadly form. Between 1915 and 1917, 12 battles of the Isonzo were fought, characterized by repeated Italian offensives against well-fortified Austro-Hungarian positions on the Carso Plateau. These battles resulted in enormous casualties for minimal territorial gains, symbolizing the attritional nature of the war. The situation dramatically shifted in October 1917 at the Battle of Caporetto near the town of Caporetto, when a combined Austro-Hungarian and German offensive using infiltration tactics and poison gas shattered Italian lines. The Italian army retreated in disarray for over 100 kilometers to the Piave River, an event that profoundly shocked Italian society and led to major reforms in military leadership. In 1918, however, Italy reorganized and, supported by Allied reinforcements, managed to halt the enemy on the Piave and eventually launch a successful counteroffensive at Vittorio Veneto. This final victory contributed to the collapse of Austria-Hungary and secured territories such as Trentino and South Tyrol for Italy. The White War left a powerful memory in national memory, particularly in Italy, where the Alpini became enduring symbols of resilience, sacrifice, and solidarity in the face of extreme adversity. Even today, as glaciers recede due to climate change, relics of the conflict, rifles, uniforms, barbed wire, and even human remains emerge from the ice, offering haunting reminders of a war fought not only between nations, but against the overwhelming forces of nature itself.